Welcome back. The Credit Ombudsman is reminding over-indebted consumers that not all hope is lost and that the National Credit Act gives a glimmer of hope for those struggling financially. Well, to discuss this now, I'm joined by Soobrathi, who's the head of department at the Credit Ombudsman's office, to discuss what options consumers have. Lee, good morning, and thank you very much for your time. It's always good to hear there is a kind of a glimmer of hope. We know the high levels of consumer indebtedness in the country. Where's that hope?
Firstly, thank you so much for allowing us the time. We're always willing to share a bit of awareness in these sort of areas. So yeah, we are currently facing, or we have been for quite a while in the pandemic. There's a lot of stress that has come with the pandemic. So one has to ask the question, even though we've suffered physically to a large degree, what financially is there a glimmer of hope for consumers who are currently facing retrenchment, consumers that are currently facing financial difficulties? And yes, there is. But the glimmer of hope depends on the willingness of a consumer to go above and beyond to contact their credit provider. So firstly, a consumer, what we suggest is that they contact their credit providers as soon as possible if they feel that they're under pressure or they will not be able to meet their obligation at the end of the month.
So once you as a consumer are aware that it's going to be very tight going forward, don't sit and wait for the situation to arise. Proactively go and engage with the credit provider and say, I'm not going to manage, what can we do? Can we make a plan? Like maybe reducing my repayments?
Yes, sir, for sure. Definitely. With regards to credit agreements, time is money. The longer you take to contact your credit provider, there is interest and costs that are accruing on the account. So what we advise consumers is that immediately contact credit providers, contact your provider, advise them of a situation. From the recent developments that we've been seeing, credit providers are willing to meet their consumers. They are willing to make arrangements. And the National Credit Act even makes provision for extension of a credit agreement. So it will lower your installment and allow you to pay the credit agreement over a longer period of time, but at the same time allow you with a bit more disposable income at the end of the month.
Now, many people would have a clothing account, a furniture account. They might have maybe even owing some money to a micro lender. They have a number of these kind of debts. How would you advise they tackle those?
Well, there are various options, available in terms of the Act as well as available from credit providers. Essentially, number one is contact your credit provider, tell them of a situation. The Act itself, what we've noticed is that consumers are following what is called a consolidation loan. It frees up a bit of income for yourself. What it does is that it takes, like, for example, 6 or 7 debts or many other smaller agreements, combines them into one, with one credit provider where that debt is settled, and it allows you to pay these debts off in one installment. It's essentially taking all of your smaller debts, putting it into a bag, settling them, and paying off one credit provider, and it frees you with a bit of income. Another option, let's say a consumer has an asset, a vehicle, or something that they feel that they can't afford any longer. The Act does provide for one to hand over that asset to the credit provider in a sort of an assisted sale situation. So you're going to the credit provider and telling them that I have this vehicle or an asset, I can't afford to maintain it any longer. Can you assist me in selling this asset off? And the Act makes provision for it, and quite frankly, it also entrenches rights for consumers, such as you are required, or rather you're entitled to get a letter informing you of the price of the vehicle before it is sold and so forth. So it's sort of an assisted sale to assist consumers who can't afford assets any longer.
Yeah, and I guess it avoids a repossession scenario where I understand there could be some cost related to that.
Definitely. It's repossession versus voluntary surrender. Voluntary surrender comes with much less costs, much less frustration, and obviously with repossession, you have litigation costs, you have attorney's fees. So yeah, those costs can pile up, and at the end of it, the consumer is liable for all of them.
And when do you then get to a situation where you might need debt counseling? Where does that come in this scenario of using the Act, provide hope?
Yes. So debt counseling is a mechanism that has been introduced by the National Credit Act that assists consumers who firstly must have an income. You must have a constant flow of income. And essentially what that does is that a debt counselor is appointed to you obviously you'll have to make application and be approved you'll have to be classified as being over-indebted before you can before the process can be finalized. But essentially what it means is that you have a representative who contacts your credit providers for you, negotiates a reduced installment, and frees up a bit of income with the intention of freeing off those debts within 5 years. So any person who's feeling over-indebted or feel that they cannot meet the installments, they would approach a debt counselor and make the necessary arrangements. But it's also important to note that while under debt review, your name is listed at the credit bureau. You are listed as being under debt review, and obviously you will not be able to get any further credit for that amount of time that you are under debt review.
Okay, and just finally to mention that consumers can contact the office, your office, the office of the Credit Ombudsman for free assistance if they experience some issues. You are open to provide that.
No, for sure. Any dispute related to credit information or credit agreements in terms of the National Credit Act, if it's not involving a bank, remember we do non-bank credit agreements and credit information disputes. They're free to contact us. If they're unsure, we will direct them and refer them to the appropriate bodies that they can approach. But we're here to assist and advise as best as we can. It's all about, I think, creating awareness and letting the consumers know that we're in this together, and together, obviously, we can overcome the struggles that we have.
Yeah, you're only dealing with non-bank credit provider situations. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Soobrathi, Head of Department Case Management at the Credit Ombudsman.